Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Turner. I'm the founder of Batcat Media Group, which is also home to my brands Dream Plan Start Grow, which is my podcast, and The Allison Turner, which is my speaking and coaching website. I wanted to jump on today and talk a little bit about lessons learned from starting a business. Some of these may be obvious, some of these may be less obvious, but it's interesting. I went and got my MBA back in 2008. Never intended, not with the intention of starting a business, but just for the education. I wanted to get out of what I was doing. That's how I saw to do it. In hindsight, I would probably do something different, but I learned from the MBA, was became a better person. But hold on a second, because it's starting to do it again. But anyway, some of the obvious things that come to mind are I learned about corporations versus LLCs versus S corps. Did I learn any of this in my MBA class? No, well, C corp I learned because most corporations are C corps, the big Coca-Cola, the Nike, all those. So I know what that is, but I didn't know I had choices between an S corp and LLC. Now an LLC can be an S corp. Learned that we have to pay business taxes. So every year I have to renew my company every year on FundBiz, which is the Florida version of that. And then I also have to pay business tax to Palm Beach County and to the city of Delray Beach, which is where we're located. I became an accountant. Not really. I'm not an accountant. I play one for my business occasionally, but really more of a bookkeeper, I should say, an accountant. I have an accountant that does all my tax returns, and he's quite good. And then I also have my payroll getting farmed out to ADP. But originally, I did my payroll early on when it was just me that needed to do a W-2. And then once I became, added more W-2 people, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be doing that. So I farmed everything to my ADP company. So they direct deposit it all for all our contractors, for any W-2 employees, all that. But I learned that all this exists. I didn't know I'd have to know all this when I started a business. Do you think the MBA told me any of this? Absolutely not. I wasn't in the entrepreneurial division. I always just add that disclaimer because I don't know what that teaches. But the rest of the MBA, I didn't learn any of this stuff that, hey, if you start a business, you might have to be your own bookkeeper for a while. I became a web designer. Now, mind you, we now offer that as a service, but initially I didn't do it when I started the business. We were a consulting company. I learned how to do web design so I could design our sites. And then we were in Delray Beach and we started dealing with entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs that didn't have this huge budget to do a marketing consultation, or let's design a marketing strategy for you. You look at their website or their brand and be like, do you really want to drive traffic to that site? So what did we start to do? We started to offer some of these services like branding and like web design. Well, guess what? I was a web designer early on. I can still do that today, but that's what I'm talking about. You don't even have a clue when you start a business that, hey, guess what? You may, unless you have a ton of capital, and if you have that capital, great, awesome. But so many people start businesses and it's so doable today without that capital. So you have to learn these things and figure out that, hey, it may be obvious, but these weren't obvious things to me that I would have to learn how to do. I learned how to do payroll. Guess what? Even though I was just paying myself as a W-2, I was paying some 1099 people. I still had to file something quarterly with the state of Florida. I didn't know I would have to do that. No idea. I learned how to do that. I did ask my accountant who was filing my tax return, hey, what do I need to do? And then he did all the annual stuff that needed to happen. But I had to learn that I had to do that, right? And then sales expert. Guess what? When you own a business, you are the salesperson for the business oftentimes until you get big enough to hire salespeople. And so many of us don't think that we're salespeople because you sell every day in life. You are a salesperson, no matter whether you are in sales or you are not in sales. So I'm just going to put that little disclaimer up here right now, but you are a salesperson regardless. So even if you're talking to your spouse about and you are lobbying to go to a certain restaurant, you're selling the restaurant you wanna go to versus the restaurant he or she wants to go to, right? That's sales. Everyone in the world is sales. Now how good you are at it, that's up to you and how good you've gotten at it, but I didn't realize I was a salesperson before I started this company. I was like, "I don't even like sales." I mean, my definition of sales, like going to these car dealerships and getting cars sold, and I'm like, "I hate that." Well, guess what? I became a salesperson. Proposals, those are fun, but those are the precipitator to sales, right? So you learn how to do proposals. So all these things which are obvious to me now of what I have to know in order to run a business, corporation versus LLC versus S corp, business taxes, accounting, web designer, all these things, and I'm the only one I'm naming some of them, are things that you have to learn when you start a business. Now, this is not to deter you if you wanna start a business or you're newer in business, but just be aware of the things and be aware that as you grow, more and more of them get formed out. But the real value I've seen in starting a business beyond everything else, because I love to learn, so learning these types of things has been fascinating to me. Would I give up this experience? Absolutely not. I treasure this experience, and as I've mentioned in one of some of my earlier videos, I got bored sometimes with other jobs, and that's why I started the business. Actually, I didn't actively say, "Hey, I'm bored, let me go start a business," but in hindsight, I was looking for that next challenge, and I was trying to figure out what is my next challenge, but I got bored otherwise. That's why I started the business was, "Hey, you know what? I need a bigger challenge." That's why I've stayed in the business. Because honestly, the thought of not the thought of working for someone else, and that's not it, but the thought of going back and saying, "Okay, here's your job description, here's what you do," and fitting in this box where I don't get the challenge of day-to-day life of running a business has not been exciting to me whatsoever. But the real bonuses in owning a business are your personal growth. And for me, it's been the confidence. It's gaining more confidence. It's gaining the education. So I'm not talking about the education of, like I said, I got my MBA in 2008, which was long before I started this business. No, I'm talking about education, whether you're working with a coach, that kind of education, whether you're educating yourself on day-to-day stuff that needs to happen in your business, that type of education. I am talking about day-to-day education and growth of learning from owning a business. 'Cause there's always new challenges, and I think that's what I never would have thought of that when I started the business. Hey, it's not gonna be an easy cakewalk. It's gonna be difficult. Things are gonna change. You may have to zig and zag and grow with the company. I've grown just as much as the company has grown. So my confidence has grown. I feel like I'm far smarter than when I started the business. My pride in the company and pride in what I'm doing has grown, and I really feel like I can do anything. That's not to say I'm gonna go and try and start something completely different tomorrow, but feel that confidence, and that's what makes this ownership for me so good, and that's why I love working with people that wanna start a business because those people are who I was 10 years ago when this business started. Those people are the ones that don't know any of these answers, and while I'm not gonna say I'm an accountant and that you should do your accounting system this way, I am gonna steer someone in the right direction and maybe help them avoid some of the mistakes I made early on, because honestly, I made mistakes because I didn't know all this stuff. I learned it along the way. Luckily, I feel like I'm a fast learner in many ways, so it wasn't like I had a lot of costly mistakes. For example, if you don't file your annual company thing with the state of Florida for Sundays, instead of paying 150 a year, you end up paying 450 if you don't file it on time. I've never done that mistake, and I know business owners who have done that mistake. But I'm just saying, like, I can guide you in the direction you want to go, and at least connect you to certain people that will help you in your business growth. Because the true honest thing about owning a business that I've learned is as your business grows, you grow. Symbiotic. It's like you're going up a ladder together. You know, you're going down that road together. So as your business grows, you grow as that business owner. And that's really the beautiful thing that I see about owning a business. And that's what I want to impart today. And what I want to, I always impart to my business coaching clients is that's what is so great about owning your own business. Yeah, you can make your own schedule, you can do whatever you want to do, all those things you hear about. But truly, what's so great is as you grow, your business grows, and it's a symbiotic, goes hand in hand type of relationship that needs to happen. One honestly is probably not going to happen without the other unless you're not involved in any of the day-to-day operations of the business. You just kind of started, got off the ground, and handed it off to a CEO, in which case you're probably in a more capital intensive business than a lot of my clients are. So if you have any questions for me, or if you know anyone that wants to start a business, I do have a free webinar that's coming up tomorrow night. So tomorrow being Tuesday, September 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I do have a free webinar coming up. I am going to do it probably again in a couple of weeks, but if you have any questions, feel free to sign up for that. That's a great opportunity to look at how do you create your dream business? How do you grow? And how do you move to that next step? Look forward to everyone that is going to be on that tomorrow evening. And for those of you who listened today, thank you for jumping on. I appreciate any feedback, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye for now.